Hello artists and welcome back to day 2 of our project. Today we are going to be focusing on value. Value is going from light to dark. We use value in art to create shadows and highlights to make things look more realistic. I'm going to be making my pumpkin the typical orange pumpkin, but I'm going to be using yellow, orange, and brown. Using crayons for this project would work best. Color pencils will work well too, but if you only have markers, that's okay as well. Markers will not blend as easily as crayons or color pencils, but you can still get the same effect. To start, you are going to begin by coloring one section at a time. Each one of these shapes is considered a section. I'm going to start with my highlight or my lightest color, and I'm going to color it in the center of our project. This is very similar to what we did for the lava lamps to make the lava seem round and more realistic. After I add a highlight, I am going to take my mid-tone or the medium color in the value, and I am going to color the rest of that shape. I'm going to overlap the orange on top of the yellow in most places, since my pumpkin is supposed to look orange. I still have some white space showing, and that's okay. I'm going to go back on top with the orange a little bit and keep layering my color until I have the values that I want. Right now, I have the highlight and the mid-tone, and it's time to add some shadow. When I think of a pumpkin, I know that this whole shape or section is rounded. I think there'll be some shadow going inward to the center of the pumpkin, maybe some shadow towards the edge where it rounds off, and where each section meets. I'm going to start with my outline and slowly bring the brown color in towards the center. Do you see how it's very blended? It doesn't go brown line, orange line, and yellow line. They're all overlapping each other just a little bit and blending. As I blend the brown in, I'm not pressing very hard on the crayon. I'm just lightly mixing it in. As I mentioned before, I'm going to keep layering my colors. So I'm going to take my orange back and start pressing a little harder to really try and get rid of all of those white spaces. If you are using color pencils, you are going to notice that this is going to be a little bit harder than using crayons, and that's okay. You might also be feeling that your hands are getting tired or starting to have that burning feeling inside your muscles. It could be in your fingers or maybe in your forearm, and that means that you're building weaker muscles and you're making them a little bit stronger. If you start to feel that burn and you want to take a break, that is okay. You could put your crayon down, shake out your fingers, and when you feel a little better, go back to coloring. This is going to help you build those muscles and make you a better artist and athlete. I am really making sure I blend in all of my colors to make this as realistic as I can. I have finished my first section and I'm very happy with it. I did not leave white spaces. I feel like my colors blend from brown to orange to yellow very naturally, and I think it looks very neat. My next step is to repeat this process for each section. Yes, it's going to take some time, and it's definitely going to take some hard work, but in the end, you're going to be very happy with your result. So I want you to do your best and color the way I've shown you. I'm going to fast forward through the rest of my coloring so that I can show you the last step of coloring the stem. Wow, that sure was a lot of work, but you know what? I am really proud of the results that I had. I spent a lot of time, I would say maybe about 1.5 to 2 minutes, coloring each section completely so that there was no white spaces. I can also find the difference between my highlights, my midtones, and my shadows. If you have noticed, I also took out a black crayon just to get my darks just a tiny bit darker. I didn't outline the whole thing in black, just a little bit in certain places to make it look a little darker. For the last step of this project, I'm going to be showing you how I would color the stem. You can color your stem however you want, but I'm just going to show you that instead of just coloring it brown, I'm going to mix in a little green. And here's why. If I color my stem brown, it'll most likely blend in a little too much with the rest of my pumpkin. The reason for that is because I already used brown as a shadow. If I were to add a yellow to it to make it look like a real dried out stem on a pumpkin, the yellow would only help it blend in more with the pumpkin. By mixing in some green, I make my stem look a little bit more fresh, and the color is going to stand out a little bit more because it has some blue in green. Remember, to make the color green, you mix blue and yellow. Having this green in my stem is going to complement the fact that I also have the blue here. These two cool colors will help each other stand out. I think I'm going to take my black crayon again and put a little bit more shadows on my stem to really make it feel like it's stuck in the middle of my pumpkin. Well, here we go. This is my finished project and I'm super happy with the results. I really feel like I've learned a lot about value and I've made an interesting composition. Instead of just drawing a pumpkin in the center, we really zoomed in and learned something new and tried something new. So I'm really proud of all of you guys for doing this with me and trying this new project. I cannot wait to see what yours looks like, and I hope you had a great time. I know I did. I'll see you next week for our next project.